All right, hi guys. So this evening I'm joined by the one and only Kyle Moyle, another local lad. Kyle, how are you?
Yeah, all good. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
That's all good. That's all good. So obviously, first question I've asked everyone so far today is how's your kind of off period been? Longer than normal, I guess. Normally you get like a 4 week window, and then you get back to pre-season. So what have you been up to?
Yeah, it's been quite a strange one, really, because obviously you get all this time off, and at the start of it, there's not a lot you can do. Pretty much stuck in your garden, stuck in your house, trying to fill the time. But luckily, I managed to make the most of the opportunity to do bits to my house that I wouldn't usually have the opportunity to do. So in a way, it's been quite good for me because I kept myself busy. Me and my wife, plenty of dog walks and things like that. So it's actually not been too bad. It's gone pretty quick, to be honest. And now we start to seem to be coming out the other side. It's quite refreshing being able to go back and doing little bits and bobs, bit of normality.
You recently just got married. How well, not recently. When did you get married?
So we got married last May. So we've our past the first year. So we're doing all right.
Strong. As I say, because apparently lockdown's been really good or really bad for marriages, nothing in between. So you either get the couples that actually they've realised they've spent so much time together, they don't actually like each other, or you get the ones that
Yeah.
appreciate the time they've got. So it's good to hear that you're the
Yeah,
appreciation side of things.
you never know how it's going to go spending like 24/7 together, but we managed to like fill the time pretty well together and got on quite well. So it's all panned out pretty good.
I think
Still
my wife
married.
just built up greater tolerance levels of my immaturity and annoyance. So
Yeah.
So back to rugby. So I was just finished speaking to obviously Robin Wedlake a couple weeks back, but you're another local lad, aren't you? But you're even more local. You're actually Penzance through and through, aren't you?
Yeah. Grown up Penzance, always played my rugby with Penzance and Newlyn juniors and stuff, and went on to play a few games for like the amateurs before I sort of tried to progress to a bit better standard at the time.
What age did you start playing rugby?
Would have been under sevens, just going down there. I think going back now, I think it was like Friday, 5 o'clock,
Yeah,
and or even half four perhaps
half
after
four, right?
school.
It's half four at the moment.
That's
Pain in the
right,
neck.
half four. Yeah, yeah. We just go down on the nurseries at 6 and 7, just kick and throw a ball around. Our coaches we had were Nicky Brooks, Pete Lugg, and they've seen us right through. There's a couple of other coaches as well. Dave was one of them too. So they sort of seen us right through all of our age group actually, and so we had quite a nice little age group actually growing up.
I was gonna say you had Cowan Dickey, Jack Knoll, and obviously the great Jonathan Badcock in your age group, didn't you?
Yeah, we're all very close friends. I could take 5, 6 of those boys now that are still my best mates. We stuck together right through all the way. So we had a nice little group, close friends and stuff, and obviously a couple of boys there you mentioned that gone on to do good things as well.
Do you still have a bit of an affiliation with the mini? Because you look at the mini junior section in Penzance, and it is a particularly strong one. Obviously, you've come and helped me do a coaching session with. I say me. You helped Mark, George, and myself do a coaching session down with the under nines last year. But it's a thriving section, isn't it?
Yeah, it's as long as I can remember, even probably before me, and Pirates have always had like one of the strongest mini junior groups that there's ever been. Always had great rivalries with Red Roof and Truro and stuff. So yeah, Penzance has always been a thriving sort of rugby place. And obviously, yeah, coming down as much as I can to help the youngsters out now, because it meant a lot to me when growing up, and you would get, probably likes yourself from back in the day when Pirates do
Whoa,
come.
easy. I wasn't playing when you were in the mini section, mate. Come on, I'm not
Oh, I
that
don't
old.
know, mate. I don't know. So when players like that come down, it does help, and it gives the kids a bit of a uh, helps them sort of understand that I could do that one day, and it's nice for them, I think, because I remember those days when players would come down, it give you a bit of a buzz and you'd really enjoy it, so make the most of it. So it's nice to get down there when I can.
Yeah, the session you came down when it was down at Penwith, my son was obviously there, and he loved it when you were there. And obviously, he knows who you are. He comes and watches most of the games, but I've never seen him try so hard in the training session. So it does go to show that having you there is quite inspirational for the youngsters. So and they're always really
Yeah,
appreciative
that's
of it.
nice. Yeah, they're good.
Last season was a tough year for you, wasn't it? You picked up an injury towards the end of the season previous at Ealing, wasn't it? Ealing away.
That's right. Yes.
Tough
Yeah.
game as well. That was, wasn't it? Christ, I was
Yeah,
down
it
for
was
that one.
a semi-final of the cup away to Ealing. Not sure the exact minute, but it was about 60 minutes in. Yeah, unfortunately managed to rupture my ACL, which put me out for quite a while. But yeah, a long old 9 months rehab with some great physios and the S&C team to get me back in condition to sort of join partly way through the last season, which got interrupted, unfortunately.
So you obviously had half the season off, effectively. What did you
Yeah,
do?
pretty much.
Because it's tough. I've had a couple of injuries myself, but I've never, touch wood, had anything quite as severe as what you had. What did you do on a daily
Yeah.
basis when everyone else was coming in and doing training sessions?
Well, I had to wait 6 weeks to actually get the operation. So that 6 weeks was a lot of just lying around, waiting for the swelling to go down, because I had no flexion. I couldn't move my knee. It was so full of fluid and bruised that I just had no movement. And so the surgeon wouldn't operate until it gone down to a certain point. So, for 6 weeks, I was basically bedbound, could come in, do some upper weights, but I couldn't really get around. But shortly after the operation, they try and get you moving ASAP. They want you on your feet. They want you moving, trying to get stuck into rehab as soon as you can. And for the majority of it was literally upper body weights. It was 10 tens, 2 weight sessions a day, just put on weight, put on muscle. I think I got up to like 97 kg, which is
Really?
But yeah, it's heavy. It was just eat. It was enjoy your food, which I love. I love my sugar. I love my food.
Did
My
you look like
fatty
Matt
foods.
Evans, all upper body, no legs?
Yeah, I had the darb. Yeah, it was. The legs did weigh thin, to be fair, at one stage. But once you get going with the rehab, it's tough. It's your days are full. These rehab sessions, they're 2 hours long. They're hard work. Plus your weight sessions. They're tough days. Obviously, you lose that sort of connection with the team because when they're outside, unfortunately you're inside, and you do miss that. But got to put
Obviously,
in
you
that
lose
hard work.
motivation as
And
well, don't you? Because I can only speak on my own experiences, but like I said, I had a couple of injuries, a couple of broken bones here and there, and it's hard to motivate yourself for a day when you know you're going in and you're working towards an end goal of getting back, but you just see everyone that's already there just going out and doing the sessions and having the opportunity to
yeah,
improve.
definitely, yeah, keeping motivation was probably one of the hardest things to do, knowing that you've got a day not by myself, but as a player by myself. I always had like a physio with me or a S&C Greg or Sam with me, but to know you're just going in there by yourself to just do rehab, really, it was tough to get motivation for it. But at the end of the day, you just had to get it done if you wanted to get back on the pitch, and that's what sort of kept me going, to be honest. The physio team were great. The S&Cs were great for like mentally keeping me on it, and they sort of understand, when you've had enough, if you keep hammering it, it's going to break. So they were good in knowing when I needed time off, when I didn't, and that helped a lot. When I was tired and needed a little break, they say, right, don't come in for 3 days, get away, just pick yourself up again, come back, and we'll go again. So I couldn't have asked for a better team behind me trying to get me back on the pitch.
It's that kind of mental health side of things as well, isn't it? Not to the extreme where it's like mental illness, but motivation and getting yourself up for doing something each day. It's awesome that it's something that people take into factor these days, because back when I was young, it was never a thing. It was basically if you're injured, you're in same hours doing the same thing, but just not doing the physical aspect, and it was very tough to kind of get your head around that. So it's amazing to hear that the kind of recuperation process does involve that as well. So, but moving on nicely, you didn't waste any time getting back into the mix, did you? When you were ready to go again, I think you had like a kind of, was it a 3-week kind of transition period? And you went from basically what I can only explain as the peak of your powers before your injury, where you were probably considered the best fullback in the league, to coming straight back in and almost picking off where you left off.
Yeah, there was a bit of luck on my side as well, because coming back to fitness, I was planning on going out to Red Roof for a few weeks, just to get back to used to playing, honing in on your skills again, getting that contact ready. But I was due to play 20 minutes against Hartbury, which I did. And then the following 3 weeks, I was then going to play for Red Roof, or 2 weeks, I think it was. But I think 20 minutes into that Hartbury game, Moyle, who was having a great season, fortunately did something to his ankle, which he managed to play on for most of the game. But I think for, I'd say 6 weeks after that, he was probably out of contention of playing. So sort of landed me straight back in. If it weren't for that, I would have been going out to Red Roof, and sort of thought to myself, just do as best as you can. And it almost was better for me, because I was able to not think about the injury. I was just straight in and just back to where I felt I left off. And my sort of confidence grew and grew week in, week out, and confidence within the knee as well, which was something. It's quite hard. It was very hard at first, and luckily I had lots of people at the club to speak to. Matt Evans, previous injury, Matt Bolwell, Hoggy. Guys there that I took a lot of just, should my knee feel like this? Is it okay if it's feeling like this? And they were like, yeah, mate, like that's just normal. You just got to put up with it. And those sort of things really helped me when I didn't think my knee was good. Them telling me those things sort of built me with a bit of confidence, knowing that, that's normal. That's something I've got to get used to, and something that sort of helped me a lot, and with my confidence in playing as well. So yeah, it was a bit of luck to getting back into the mix straight away, but it was nice to be back out there with the boys after such a long layoff.
You talk about the confidence, mainly with the knee. It's a massive hurdle to overcome, isn't it? And people are not often aware of it, because, I think I was playing for Red Roof one year, and I snapped my forearm, and I was out for. Lucky it was at the end of the season. So I missed a couple of games. But when I came back, I padded it up. And this was about 6 or 7 years ago now. I won't play a game of rugby now without putting a pad on my forearm. It's fully healed. There's a metal bar in there and all that kind of jazz. But
that was one of the things that me and me and the physio team went through, was try and get out of strappings as soon as you can. For the first few training sessions I did, but Si was like, do you need to wear this now? And I was like, yeah, actually, I think you're right. So did a couple of training sessions without it. First contact sessions, or a couple of them, strapped it up just for confidence issues, And as soon as I took one shot on it in training, I was like, yeah, that felt okay.
Yeah.
Took the strapping off during a session, cracked on, because at first you're like, okay, I'll strap it up, and then when you're in a session, you don't think about it. So that's when I could whack it off.
I reckon the coaches were.
Yeah. So that sort of thing helped me, but I think a positive thing was just getting rid of it as soon as I could. I played the first game Hartbury with it, but after that I didn't wear it, and I think that was probably a good thing mentally for me. Otherwise, you're thinking about it all the time. Obviously, everyone's different, but for me, getting rid of the strapping was a good thing for me, I think.
It's almost getting rid of a crutch that you don't necessarily need anymore, isn't it? For lack of a better pun. So what you talk about some of the players in that back line. What's it like playing in such an exciting kind of back line, in particular the back three? You look at the players you've got. You've got Alex and Mira, Wedlake, Malik, yourself, AJ. That's just naming but a few. It's got to be quite an exciting team to play in.
I'd be confident saying it's probably one of the most exciting back threes I've seen in the league. I think, especially at the Pirates, I think it's just sharp pace, agility written all over it, isn't it? It's finishing ability. It's a great little sort of group we've got going, because we all help each other in training. We're always trying to improve each other and help each other's skills. We're always working on our extras together. So it's there's no hard feelings against anyone, or when there's a selection, you know, you put it on the chin and then look for the boys to see how you can help them. You know, do you need anything this week? What do you need? Can I help you in any way? And I think we got a great little unity down there, and it's good to see.
So within the back three, there's you talk about the agility, but everyone's kind of got their own attributes. You look at Robin Medlake, he's just colossal freak of a man. You've got Alex Amira, who's just super fast and steppy. What you know, they're examples. Obviously, AJ, full of potential as well as what he brings. What do you think you bring to the party in terms of your kind of unique skill set?
Probably not as good if you look at all the individual things as they've all got. You know, Alex is quicker than me. Wedders is stronger than me. AJ's just so much potential, like natural talent. I don't reckon I've played with a more natural player that's got the ability to go on to such great things. I think for me, it's probably consistency. If you put all those things together, it's just consistency throughout my game. I think I don't stand out in one certain thing. I just think I do these things well consistently. And I think that helps me because I tend to make good decisions at right times, I guess. I'm not a all-out attack player. I sort of feel when is the right time to kick, when's the right time to counter-attack. I just feel that's sort of my blend of game, really. Doesn't set me out from different from the others, but it just makes me a bit more reliable, perhaps. I don't know.
It's always, I'll be honest, it's always really interesting because I've asked a lot of people that question. It's always a very interesting question to ask because firstly, people don't want to come across as arrogant and say, oh, I'm amazing at this, I'm amazing at that, but they always give you a unique perspective on how they see themselves. Personally, in every kind of team, or, you know, when you go to war, you always need a general, and that's someone who directs play and helps the people around him. And for me, that's one of your main strengths that, you know, you do. I personally would set you above other people. It's that communication. Everyone in the team talks. You can hear it from the sidelines, but it's what you talk about. You're not just talking about what you're doing. The thing that sets you apart is you tell people what they should be doing as well.
I think that's just an experience thing, and that would be something that I've got over the. You know, it's a young back. Alex Amira's similar age to me. Wedders is a bit younger than me, but maybe experience is something I've got over those guys. You know, they all talk. Like Omo's a very loud. He's confident in talking as well. Wedders and AJ a little bit more quiet, and Mal's coming through a little bit. But yeah, I think sort of that comes from experience. Sort of that pendulum's quite new to us at the moment as well because we've switched from post to pendulum. But having previous experience of it, I sort of understand it quite well as well. So it's
so for the supporters, and I could be wrong here. So post is where you basically have two guys back, normally involving the 10 on the 15s, isn't it? And you have a flat attacking line, a defensive line. But pendulum is basically where the blind side winging normally drops, open side comes up, and the 15 swings across, and then when it goes the other way, it switches back. Is that still the case?
Yeah, that's the one. So, you know, we used to be a rigid pendulum, rigid post, whereas two players would just stick on the 15-meter line. They would not move. And then a couple of years ago, Paves tried to introduce sort of a pendulum post where we would try and close when needed. If they looked like breaking us on the outside, we would then have the ability to come up and close on the edge. And we sort of still do that now, to be honest. We try and leave it as late as possible. You know, only if needed, we'll sort of close the door. But pendulum works well. It's something we're quite good at as well. That's when you've got your wingers. One wing drops, 15 goes across, and you push the other wing up. Then it's a lot of hard work, a lot of running.
I was going to say, it's not for a winger. It's not. I used to love that because basically when the ball wasn't on my side, I just kind of trotted back a little bit and watched the fullback sprinting across because you got like 50, 60 meters to cover sometimes.
Sometimes, but then don't forget, if you're playing nowadays, you then got to chase a 60-meter kick not long after.
True.
Yeah, kick chase is a big part as well now. So they do some meters, to be fair to them.
Yeah, not in my day. We never used to.
Nah.
If you kicked it, you'd always need a winger back to counter attack. So that was all good.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are your thoughts for this coming season? Obviously, you've had a lot of time to think about it. You had a lot of time to kind of get your head around. Obviously, I know that we don't know when it's starting and there's a lot in the air. But what are your personal goals, and what are you kind of hoping that the squad as a whole is going to achieve?
Um, Tough personal goal. I just would love to play, to be honest. And I think everyone give you that same answer. Everyone's just itching to play now, and not having sort of any inkling on when that might be is quite frustrating. Because you don't want to burn yourself out. It's a long old season as it is, and without having 5, 6. Because when I first started lockdown, you're hammering the weights if you can. Luckily Pirates gave us some weights to take home, and then you're hammering the running as well. But then you sort of got to take a step back and think, if I keep this up, I'm just going to burn myself out, because then I've got a pre-season, then I've got a full season ahead of me. So I think just trying to step back there, but just try and get involved straight away. Personally, just want to play, enjoy my rugby. The injury sort of made me realise that rugby isn't everything, and it can be taken away from you like that. One tackle gone. So you can't take any moments for granted. You just got to play game by game as well and enjoy it. That is the main thing. Yeah, it is your job. There's a bit more pressure on it, but you still want to enjoy it. Otherwise, what's the point? And I think team-wise, it's just building on from last year if we can. I think we were in a strong position last year. We were solid there in third, I believe. And I think with the squad, we've kept most of our squad together again. And I think we can only be stronger. Obviously, Ealing and Saracens are going to be pretty good this season, but down at the Mene, I find we're pretty tough to beat no matter who the opposition is. So we've got a huge advantage there. So I think just trying to build on from last season. If we can better last season, I think that's a good goal for us, and try and push Ealing and Saris as much as we can.
Ealing have made some big signings, haven't they? They're like almost a
Yeah,
statement of intention, isn't it?
Yeah. I think they've seen an opportunity. Saracens coming down. They've released a lot of. They've kept some very good internationals and British Lions and stuff, but they have released quite a lot of England fringe players that have aspirations to go on and play for England. And I think Ealing have just seen an opportunity to take that and have a go. They've really gone for it more than previous years. Made some great signings, some great champ players, some sort of Prem players that weren't established. You look at a local lad that's gone there, Max Fadilli, full of potential, like a great player, got Prem experience and all. Someone like that is just going to thrive in the champ. He did when he was down at the Pirates, and that was 4 or 5 years ago now. So
they signed one of my favourite Prem players. Do you know Charlie Walker-Blair? Is it Charlie Walker-Blair?
Yeah.
You know what? He always had something about him that I always liked.
He's just electric, wasn't he? Nippy player.
He must be getting on now, though. How old is he now?
I'm feeling he's my age, mate. Thanks for that. Yeah.
How old are you now?
27. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's any older than me.
I thought he'd be early 30s, to be honest, but
I don't think so. I know he was at Harlequins for a while, and obviously went over to Italy for a little bit.
But, once the pace goes, mate. Once his pace goes, it's no problem.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, hopefully he's lost a few yards.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't hold you.
But yeah, no, Ealing have I'm impressed by the signings they've made, and I think they're going to be a tough team for Saris to beat. To be honest, if I had to be a betting man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm personally really excited about the season coming. If and when it's deemed safe to get started, I think it's going to be a very good. There's some other Jersey are strengthening, Scottish are strengthening.
Yeah.
We've got consistency. We've gone down the route of retention and consistency, which I think's a really good thing, because we had a very good squad in the first place.
Yeah, we do.
But no, I'm personally, I'm looking forward to seeing you get back on the pitch. I say it to obviously a lot of the boys, and I'm excited about seeing Robin Redlakes and especially Alex O'Meara and that. But for me, you're the kind of the cog that brings it together, especially that back three. So you help other people unleash their kind of individual attributes. And I think that the team is a better place with you in it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what you can do and kind of kick on from the
I appreciate
top
that.
end performances you've been doing so far. But again, mate, thank you very much for your time this evening. I will let you get back to whatever it is you're doing in the evenings these days.
Well, Lisa's just cooking fajitas at the moment, which smell pretty good. So I think I'll be going out and having some of those.
See, that's different. You're going for heaters, I'm going for a pizza. You know, retired versus professional. You know, some say you're
Well,
living a dream, but I disagree. I will leave you to it, pal. Have a good evening, and like I said, I look forward to seeing you back on that pitch soon.
thanks very much. See you soon.